So like today, like as you guys want to know, like how to actually want to get the damage better, right? Because many people are like just keep asking me this question, just like oh, how can you do higher damage in this game? Like how many crit damage is good enough? How much attack percentage is good enough? So I just want to like make a video today, to make everything clear. Okay, let's start it. I want to before I explain everything, I want you guys to answer me a question. Okay, if I give you guys 6 points, okay, to add in any of this equation. Well, not equation or anything, okay? So, like, I would say this one is attack percentage, okay? Alright? This one is a crit damage. Okay? And this one is an elemental damage, or just an element, whatever, elemental damage. Whatever, okay. Where do you want to put it? Where do you want to put this 6 point?
I'll put all my points into attack today.
Okay, so yeah, okay. Basically, this is like most of a Genshin's player will do, okay, kind of like that, okay? Now, let me tell you. This is how it works. I try to simplify every damage related factor into this equation, that's it, that's the only 3 things. Of course, if you want to like deeper math, you also have to put in skill damage, crit rate whatsoever. But here's the thing though, I only just put these 3 things as a showcase to show you how it works, okay? Now, this is your equation, okay? It will end up like that. Now, this, it's my equation. Nothing changed. I just put everything equally. It turns out this. Now do you see what's different? What's going on? Because you put everything into one factor or one multiplier, it actually drags everything down. This like how to say that? This condition also can explain as delusion. Is how to spell delusion? Okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's called delusion. Okay, okay. Of course, though, you guys won't say this thing, because this word only exists in the Asian server. They really like using this word, but guess what? I definitely hate it. I absolutely hate this word. Okay, because they don't know what's the true meaning of that, and they use that. Okay, so what they mean delusion is what in their definition. Okay, they just calculate every 10% you put it in the same stack. Okay. And then your benefit or result will actually get lesser and lesser. Example, okay, here's a 100 point of a damage, kind of like that, or attack, whatever, okay, times 10% of your artifact, okay. What it turns out, 110%, right? So comparatively, okay, the 110%, versus the 100, it's still 10% increase, right? Now, however, if you do this, you put one more 10% into the equation, okay? It will become 120%, so it's 120, right? But what they do is they just try to compare to the previous answer. What it turns out is 9% only, approximately. Okay? But is it actually get lesser though? Is it actually get lesser? If you compare to that 10% into the 100, you still get 10% increase every time you add 10%. So this thing is just kind of misleading, That's why I don't like what they call delusion. What delusion? What delusion about? You didn't get diluted at all. Your damage, it still exists, but however, your damage just get linear increase. All right. Now let's go back to that equation. What's that equation? Right here. Alright, this equation, okay? If you actually put everything to the balance equally, you also will get linear, but however, your linear will actually get faster. Like that. Versus this. That's how the game works. Okay, so let's see. Here's my Hu Tao. Let's see though. Let me change the Hu Tao one. Oh yeah, before I change the Hu Tao, you know, there's a people actually like make me angry, and I say, ooh, newbie, you know, like you say that, you know, like you tell us to actually put everything to balance, and you have a really high crit damage, you know, like you do so high damage, you can say whatever now, right? But do they even actually see every character I have a high crit damage, I also have high attack,
Yeah.
high attack, high attack. High attack. Yeah, see, basically people just like selectively, you know, just look in the crit damage and say, oh, you know, crit damage is the best. And then one more condition is like, I saw some people actually push the crit damage over 200% while leave their crit raise to the nuts. I saw some really weird ratio is like 20% crit rate and with 200% crit damage. I saw that, and then they said, well, I mean, this is the way to do high damage, right? And then they pathetically hit 10 hits, only 2 crit.
Yeah, it's the best way to do high damage sporadically.
Yeah. So, like, they just don't understand. If they don't have 50% crit rate to actually make a gamble on 50-50, half and half, this number is a freaking joke. They don't understand. They just keep wasting their resources to just keep going crit damage over and over again. Alright? So that explains the quote-unquote delusion they so claim to call delusion, you know. I just call linear increase, you know, and like just like give up the crit rate and then just blindly go crit damage. That explains everything. Now I have a one living example I want to show you. Okay, let me switch to Hu Tao first. Okay, yeah, ignore those like ignore them. Let's see, I'm just using this part. Alright, so I have a question for you, okay? What do you think, okay? Do you think this goblet is better? Or this goblet is better?
Can I see the other one again?
That is a test. That's a tiny test. Oh, quiz.
I think the HP one is better.
Okay, you think the HP one is better, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? Because like before I put the HP one, my crit damage is like 277, right? Kind of like that. And then my attack is only 1541. 277, 1541, right? If I switch to this one, 1635 and 288. Wow, you know, like I got like 10 each crit damage increase and a high attack increase, right? That's definitely better. Let me tell you, wrong. Goblet. Okay, so my stat get lower, you know, I should actually get lesser than 8,000 damage or something like that, right? Because I got lesser damage now. However, you see the difference? Do you know why or why something is going wrong?
Is it because of your elemental damage?
Exactly. Because your elemental, remember. Now, here's the one thing I need to make it clear, okay? Elemental damage is considering as an absolutely isolate or separate multiplier. So if you actually have an elemental goblet, make sure using elemental goblet because this is an isolated multiplier. It's raw. It's a raw power in there. Like your HP, attack, or crit damage is quote unquote get diluted. While your elemental damage, it's a numeric multiplier. Of course, it make it much higher. Okay, remember though, when I use the Pyro Goblet, it's a 12.5k, something like that, right? HP, okay?
Yeah.
See, 116 versus 125.
Okay.
That is the difference. Now I understand why sometimes you get lower crit damage, but somehow you get higher damage. That is what it comes from.
I see.
Yeah. Once again, if you want to do a high end damage, make sure you actually distribute these things equally, basically. And that's it. You know, that's about it today.
Okay.
If you have any question, just ask me. Okay. All right. Yeah. So here's the thing, though, you know, like math is actually exists in every way, you know, even in game, you know, like people just keep saying.
No. It exists especially in games.
Especially in game, yeah, you're
because
right,
of how coding works.
Yeah, see, and so that's why you need to actually make the concept right, then you actually then you will do better in game, kind of like that. You know, I know it sounds like annoying. You know, we just playing game. We don't we don't want to actually like learn math. You know, but come on,
But it's also
But
also unless you're going to try to be like the absolute top player.
True. Otherwise,
it's not necessary to get nitty gritty into the math.
Yeah.
It's just necessary to have, or it's just a good idea to have like an okayish understanding of how it acts.
Yep.
I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I do this, it'll make it better. If I do this, it'll make it weaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to know exactly like, oh, well, if I have exactly this much crit damage versus this much attack, I will do this much damage.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go that far.
Yeah, you don't need to. You just need to know the concept that's good enough, honestly. Like because I actually hear like the reason why I make this video, because people just keep asking me like, what kind of ratio is the best? What kind of ratio is the best? You know, how much attack power is enough? That's no absolute scale. Just make them even. That's it.
Yeah.
Like or around even, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So,
There is a general ratio that people always say for crit rate to crit damage.
Yeah.
But you never really hear anybody talk about anything for any of the other stats.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Just make them all as high as they can go.
Exactly.